I'm Sheena Parent, and I am back again with another object lesson for Come Follow Me. This week we will be discussing week 4, which is John chapter 1. So for this week's lesson, we are going to be focusing on chapters 4 through 10, which in these verses, it is where they talk about how Christ is a light. So I thought it would be really fun if you did this in the evening or at night so that you can turn off all the lights in your home and sit in the dark for a few minutes. This would work great for young and older children. Now, after you turn off the lights and you're sitting in the darkness, you could discuss maybe with your children like the feelings that they might be having. If you have older children, they might not really care about sitting in the dark, but you could think about a time where they were scared of the dark. You could even share some experiences from when you were younger, maybe, and you were afraid of the dark. So as you're sitting, after you discuss sometimes in your life when you were scared of the dark, or sharing how you're feeling right now and how difficult it would be to live in darkness, you are going to turn on your flashlight. I picked up a few of these just cheap flashlights from the dollar store, and they will work perfect for this object lesson. So after you've discussed as a family about darkness, turn on your flashlight, and with it on, it'll be a little lighter, and you can read verses 4 through 10. Now explain that Christ is the light in a dark world. You could spend some time discussing how Christ is a light, and then explain that once we have a testimony and are living righteously as Christ did, that we can be a light to others. So after you've done that, you can pass out some flashlights to the members in your family and tell them not to turn them on yet. You can make like a big event of this. You could do a countdown, or I don't know, get creative, but just have them hold onto their flashlights with them turned off. Now, like count down from 3 or whatever you want to do, and then have everyone turn them on. And nothing happens. Now, before your lesson, you are going to want to put your batteries in, but for everybody else, you are going to leave the batteries out. So obviously, when they turn their flashlight on and nothing happens, they are going to want to know what is going on. And this is another part of the object lesson. So after they've turned it on, you will remind them that just as you said just a few minutes before, in order to have the light of Christ in our lives, we must be living the gospel. We must have a testimony. We must have faith in Him. And once we have gained a testimony of Christ and are living in a way that is pleasing to Him, you'll pull out your batteries and you'll say, we can then have the power to spread our light to others. Oops, I put that one in wrong. So you can move to one member of your family, and you are going to use your flashlight and shine it on them and help them put the batteries into their flashlight. And while they do this, you can explain this a little more about the power of Christ and the light that we can have in our lives and that we can share. And this would also be a great opportunity for you to share your testimony as a parent and explain that batteries represent our testimony and our faith and us choosing to live righteously and obey His commandments. They give us power to be able to share our light. So after you've helped the one family member do this, have them turn on their light. And now you have 2 lights. So then both of you can move on to the next family member and shine your light on them. And you can discuss this even further. You could ask them to think of times in their lives when they have shined their light on others. You could have them share a part of their testimony, especially if they're younger. You could help them learn those parts of their testimony. So you'll keep doing this until everyone in the family has their light on. So then you could ask if it helped to have someone shine their light, because it would be difficult to put the batteries into your flashlight if you were in the dark. Eventually you probably could do it, but it helps to have someone shine their light. Then, I've got to get my other note sheet. So once everyone has their lights on, you could all like stand together and have your lights turned on, and have your family members look around the room and see how much lighter it is. And you could talk about how, or discuss that we live in a very dark world, and that there are very many people out there who do not have this light. And so they are wandering through this world in the dark. And just like it was helpful for you to shine your light, you could discuss how they could help others by shining their gospel light. So for the next part of the lesson, you can turn on your lights in your home and pass out these printables that I made. I did a little sneak peek yesterday on Instagram and Facebook. So for this part of the lesson, you will be cutting out the flashlight and the rays. And you will explain to your family that on the flashlight, you would like them to write ways that the Savior is a light in their life. They could write their testimony if they're older. They could write, I guess, like bullet points of their testimony. And then on the rays, they could write ways that they will shine their light to others. And be an example, by being an example, by serving. Just have them think of ways that they can shine that light that they have to help others in this dark world. So after everyone has filled out their flashlights, you can glue them onto a piece of paper, or you can glue them into a journal, into a New Testament journal maybe, or Come Follow Me journal that you're doing with your family. You can do whatever you want, but I think it would be a great thing to look back on to see their testimony and the ways that they are planning on shining their light. And maybe you could follow up the following week and ask, were you able to shine your light on someone else? And maybe at the end of the year, or a few months down the road, you could talk about whether their light is growing brighter. Maybe if they're really small and they're just gaining a testimony, you could talk about how, you could even talk about bigger batteries, or, something to where it's a brighter light. And you could compare that with, as we feed our testimonies, we can have a brighter light to shine that will shine even brighter. So I hope you enjoy this week's object lesson. You can grab my printable over on my site. I will leave a link down in the description. So just click on it and head on over and you can print this out. Thanks so much. I'll see you next week.